What's up? It's episode 70, I believe. Dr. Kai Dupuy, Coding While Black. Today is January 17th, Martin Luther King Day, 2021. As I sit here in my car, I'm about to run some errands. Thought I'd drop a post today, drop a quick video message. Seeing that I live in Redmond, Washington, about 30 miles east of Seattle. It's actually referred to as King County. That kind of shocked me when I first got here. I'm like, King County? That can't be King County like in Dr. Martin Luther King, but it is. They have Dr. King's images blazing across a lot of the official signage and vehicles and buses. It's King County, as in Dr. Martin Luther King. So quickly about Dr. King. He's one of the first people that I studied as a person, teaching myself Black history. During my time of coming up, that's the only way you could get Black history, is to teach yourself. And I didn't teach myself until I was in college, or maybe a little bit. It really started while I was in college. And King was the first one. Dr. King was the first one I studied. So I read everything that he wrote, and then I graduated to Malcolm. But one thing I noticed even now about Dr. King and his writings is folks always misquote, misinterpret, or they only quote King from one perspective, which is love, peace, joy, and let's get along kind of thing, right? They never quote the economic stuff. They never quote how he points out some of the problems with race that we have in this country, and how most of that burden is on white folks re-educating themselves about their racial ignorance, which is what it is, right? I don't have that racial ignorance because I taught myself. I study outside of the conditioning and indoctrination that I got in school. And if you don't do that, you're racially ignorant. And so the thing that, from King's perspective, that I think we should study as Black folks and become fully aware of, and really everybody, but is economics, right? This is what he focused on towards the end of his life, was economic equality, economic opportunity. And that leads me to, the issue or the conclusion that I've come to in terms of a lot of the issues that we still suffer in the Black community. Sure, racial ignorance is one of them, but most of our problems still stem from economic inequality. And so, in my humble opinion, if you're not doing something to work on changing the economic situation in the Black community, you're whistling Dixie. You're spitting in the wind, because that's the foundation. It's always been the foundation. It just took me and a lot of other people a long time to figure that out, right? All the rest of the stuff is smokescreen. It's all high level, superficial, right? Because you can do whatever you want to at the high level, superficial level. If you don't change the economic situation, which is about opportunity and fairness, you're not changing anything. We can go deeper. Like I said, I like to speak a little bit from a spiritual perspective, because spiritually is a different conversation. But in the three dimensions that we're talking about, in the physical situation, in terms of what we can do and what we're working on, we're going to keep it at the economic situation. And that's what needs to change. And that's what really got me into tech, because I grew up in poverty. Now, and I saw tech at the time, 82, 80, 81, as an opportunity to better myself economically, right? And at that time, people were talking about tech in the similar terms they talk about it now, right? High-paying jobs. If you get a job in they didn't call it tech back then, because in my opinion, tech is also a way of kind of belittling what a person is, right? You really don't hear white folks call themselves tech people, right? They call themselves computer scientists, but which is what I consider myself, a computer scientist. But that's why I went into tech, right? I went into tech for money. I went into tech to remove myself from poverty. I don't recommend that in today, because I think you should have a passion and a desire and a love and an interest for anything that you do. But folks who are in poverty, that thought is a luxury, right? When you're in poverty, you're not worried about whether you like what you do or not. You are working to remove yourself from dire circumstances and dire consequences, which is what I was doing, right? So I pursued that career. And I still think that tech is a great way to remove yourself from economic circumstances or impoverished circumstances, but you have to have opportunity. And quite frankly, There are many opportunities out there right now for folks in the black community, Native American community, and other communities, Hispanic communities, to do that. But we're not taking advantage of them. And I think a big part of that is we don't know about them, which is why I try to do stuff on this video channel, why I've spent years going back in my community in Texas and letting folks understand and know the huge opportunity there is to extricate yourself from poverty, which is right in line with the economic message and economic justice that Dr. King talked about. Take advantage of these opportunities were not always here. And a lot of times they're not here out of the goodness of other folks' heart. They're here out of necessity. I was just reading something online yesterday. I didn't post it yet, but it was Amazon or AWS as an article about them creating a program, and it's already created if I'm not mistaken, where you can go to them without any degree and without any job experience, and they will train you 100% and then place you in a job. And it's all free. Now, you can't beat that, right? But if I'm not mistaken, from memory, that's going on in Virginia. It's not an online situation. It's Virginia. And when I tell folks that, first thing they'll say is, man, I can't be moving to Virginia. Okay. But let me just tell you, when I started my career, I went where the opportunity was. If somebody called me right now and I was broke, I didn't have a job, I was working somewhere I didn't want to work, I'd be moving myself to Virginia, by hook or by crook. You can't ignore opportunities if you're trying to move forward. The other thing I'll say about that is this, and I'll wrap it up on this piece on Martin Luther King Day. Just because you go off and start a career, start a job in tech or in computer science or programming, however you want to term it, doesn't mean you have to stay there forever. Use it and transition, right? One of my great examples, and I got a couple good examples of that, right? One is Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, I'm a little sad today because they lost yesterday. Today is Monday. They lost on Sunday. That was a brutal way to lose. But he started off in oil. He didn't love oil. He didn't love digging wells. He wasn't excited, interested, and enthusiastic about that. But when he made his money, Jerry Jones I'm talking about, he went out and bought the Cowboys and transitioned into something that he loves, which is football. Okay, same thing with Mark Cuban. Started off his company, broadcast.com. As an entrepreneur, he saw a need he wanted to be able to watch Maverick games when he was somewhere where he didn't have access to the TV signal or couldn't watch his favorite team. So he built a solution from technology and sold that. I believe he sold it to Yahoo. Then what did he do? He took his money and bought the Mavericks. Okay? You can do the same thing, maybe on a smaller scale or even on the same scale. Use the opportunities that are available to you. Is everything perfect? No. Do we have all the opportunities we should have? No. Do we have opportunities to take advantage of and better ourselves and start to level or move more forward on this playing field from an economic perspective? Absolutely we do. So let's do that. Happy Martin Luther King Day, MLK Day 2021, episode 70. Dr. Kai Dupuy, Coding While Black. Peace.